So I'm going to speak about the beginning of Siman Shin Chaf Ches. Today, a little bit of the Maisa Hafrasha, the Seder Hafrasha, the Bracha, a little bit about the Challah of Hafrasha, the Machshava, which the place can speak about a little bit here. Question of Shlichos, Ktsois, and Chum Sadeshin, which is Siv Gimel. We're not really going to get to today. And we'll see, maybe we'll get to that in Hemshech. We should be basically finishing up next couple of days, tomorrow, Sunday, Shin Chaf Ches. And then we're going to move on to either Shin Lamed or Shin Chaf Gimel. I haven't yet decided. It seems like Shin Chaf Gimel might be a little bit more kashur to the sugya, so we'll see. But Challah, we should be finishing up what we can. Ma'am Mokayim is Shin Chaf Ches. So the beginning of Siman Shin Chaf Ches is the Seder of the Maisa Hafrasha. B'shal sheyafresh Challah Yavarech Asher Kedushanim B'sos Mitzvah Lahafresh Truma. Mechaber brings Truma. The Ramah says, or you could say Lahafresh Challah. And the Mela, that's all learned from the Mishnah. We know there's a bracha. We don't know the nusach bracha. Couldn't find any current chazal be'emes for the nuschos, and I guess that's why there's a machlokas rishonim. Truma, challah, mino isa, truma, challah, truma. Kol minei tztadim. But it's mavur in the Mishnah from the din of isha that she can't be mafresh aruma. She could be mafresh aruma, but a man can't be mafresh aruma because of the bracha. So that's the makar. There is a bracha. What the bracha is, the shayla of the rishonim. So the Maisa Ragwa Deis was there. There's a lot of different shitas, and the Torah says there's no chilik. But the Maisa, the poskim seem to have a preference in the emes. And the pashtus on the page, Shach Taz, is that Hagam that the Ramah brings tzad of lahafresh challah. The default is be'emes to say truma. There's a mile in saying lahafresh truma as opposed to challah. Why? Because in the pasuk, Mashmo says in the pasuk that the little piece of dough or bread that you're taking off is referred to as the truma. And the challah is fakir. The challah is the whole cake, is the whole uga that you're taking off from. And in general, that's the Goin brings makaris that challah is referred to the whole lechem, to the whole pas that we're dealing with, to the whole isa. So it sounds like Medina, at least, it would be preferable to say lahafresh truma, and the Ramah is telling you the possibility. So loikach nagu. It seems that the minhag bein by Ashkenaz and bein by the Sfaradim is not to say truma. The Sfaradim say lahafresh challah truma. Over here you see it's out in the place called truma challah. The place called the Ben Ishchai, the Peter Ben Ishchai. It seems that the minhag by the Sfaradim say lahafresh challah truma. The minhag by the Ashkenazim Kiyadua is it's the kind of Ben Ishchai. So you have to see. It's really totally a little bit in the place but they're saying that the Bach and the Shach, they point out that on Pesach they would make a different nusach, and the Drishas whole shtick Torah on Pesach is different. They say it's a toast. If you're going to say Truma Challah, you should say the whole year Truma Challah. So it seems like the Sfaradim them down that you should. But the Ben Shai switches it to Challah Truma. Ayin Sham. Ravadi says also Challah Truma. I'll be the Ben Shai. It seems that was the minhag by the Sfaradim. So by the Ashkenazim, it's lahafresh challah, and we'll see about the shayla of mino isa. So the Goin, I wasn't able to inquire exactly. I couldn't find any Maisarab or anything in writing that minhag agra, no hagim ki minhag agra. If they say of bemis lahafresh truma, the Goin is mashma. The bemis you should say lahafresh truma. And so it's not such a riot because all the places come before like that. But it's not the minhag. So you have to know what the minhag was. I don't know by the Goin. You have to check it out. But lamaisa lahafresh truma. The ma'ila is it's kiloshin akra as opposed to loshin mishnah. I saw them quote, I think it was in Emes Liyankov, that that's why we only do lahafresh challah, loshin ha-mishnah, not loshin ha-kra, because bizmanein is only b'derabanan, so we don't use loshin ha-kra. Okay. He was talking about challah in the rice, which is not true. So the Aruch HaShulchan is ready miyashiv the minhag. The Aruch HaShulchan on this, not the minhag isa, but the challah as opposed to truma. So the Aruch HaShulchan is already made, and minhag is shol Torah, and that was already, it seems, the minhag B'nai Ashkenaz for a long time. He doesn't mention anything about the Goin of the minhag lahafresh truma. Obviously, with the Yevid, all the nischos will work. But the Ma'aseh l'chatchila, he says that avada yesh l'kayim minhag Yisrael, and he explains that bismanenu, that we're no longer doing anything with the challah except for burning it. So he brings rayas that truma is the lashon of the truma, is the donation that you give to the kohen. So when it's going to a kohen, whether it's challah tahira or challah tamei and chutzlars, when they were knowing like that, but bismanenu, that everything is going l'ur, and it's all challah tamei, we don't give the kohen anymore. So it's no longer passed to call it truma, because it's not a truma, it's no longer a donation, but rather it's just challah. And the mele, that's how the minhag of lahafresh challah came. Fine. So that's the gabi the etzem bracha. And again, the Sfaradim say challah truma, like it's mavur in many places that is a ma'il of Bach, Shati, and Ashkenazi places mavur that at least truma challah, at least that you koil both. That's the minhag. My Ashkenazim is the call of Pachas by Ashkenazim will have a Challah. So what's with Minho Isa? Fine. So the Taz brings that there's such a minhag to say lahafresh Challah Minho Isa. And the Taz just seems to think it's unnecessary. It doesn't seem to have a problem per se of a hefsik, like the Das Kedoshim Bizmarach. It's not a problem of a hefsik b'di'evid. It's me'inyan ha-bracha, you're allowed to be moisif me'inyan ha-bracha. But he says it's not necessary. Mash mekan de'in tzricha lemer Minho Isa. And he's right. If you look at the Mashmos, the Rishonim and the Chayim, all the handle right before the Taz was about Isa Truma, was about Challah Truma, or whatever. They had some other Mashmos, Matzah Truma, Challah, whatever, but no Minho Isa. And he says very simply, because in the brachas we just try to describe which mitzvah we're performing, we don't go into the pratei dinim. So it's unnecessary. He's made that there was such a minhag. I don't know if everyone had the minhag, but he's made there was such a minhag to say Lav Shalom Minho Isa. And he explains there is a tam, because it's Minho Isa la afuke min ha-kamach, and that's the halacha. But there's no tzarech. By kisei adam we say be'offer. When Moisef a prat in the din, even though we know when you say chasas adam, so it's the kisei adam, al kisei adam, so we know what you're doing. So you say be'offer. So he says, Ein Shama explained that he had a special hezber. When there's no special hezber, we fall back on the pashtus that there should be no taisefis of Minho Isa. So the Taz l'shitasoi in Sibin Kufchav by Tfilas Kedim is ma'ir the same thing, but there's be'emes mekaris and Rishonim. The Taz brings from a Darkei Moshe B'Shem Mordechai that when you're being toivel klei matchis, you should say by Tfilas Kelim, not al Tfilas Kli. There's a shayla Kli or Kelim, but not al Tfilas Kelim, but al Tfilas klei matchis. And the Taz l'shitasei in the Simon Kufchav has the same time. Why are you adding matchis? So you want to be mevarer that it's dafka klei matchis that we're toivel. Emes we're toivel schuchis atu matchis, but it means lafuke cheres and eitz whatever. So you want to be masber the pratei dinim. So the Taz says fine. So let's be masber some more pratei dinim. Let's say al tfilas klei matchis shehem klei suda niknim min hagoy. He just says the klei suda part, but we can't start adding all the pratei dinim inside the bracha. So leave out klei matchis. But that l'maisa Taz is going to be chaylik on Mordechai. Mordechai brought that girsa. And the Taz there says the same shtickle there. He says, you'll tell me that it seems that the davar muskim by kisei hadam. But by kisei hadam we do add the offer. That's a special reason. He quotes the reason over there. He quotes it earlier in the din of kisei hadam.
Would be who? Then also some people say Hadik Ner Shabbos Chodesh.
I never heard such a recitation.
Chabad says Shabbos Chodesh.
Maybe they don't mean that to be part of the bracha. Oh, but it's in between the bracha and the hadlaka, or is it make the bracha after the hadlaka? No, because if it's after the hadlaka, then it's okay. Then you could add. You could pull that shtick, al kakol.
Oh,
no, or should make the bracha after. Right. There's really such a list. The Kraz doesn't say that or anything. That's just that's a really. L'mais, it's very interesting. The Taz over there in Kufchav, he's ma'orer on Lahadik Ner Shel Chanukah. He asks that question. He's like, okay, so why are we saying Shel Chanukah? Just say Lahadik Ner. So he says no, because that's not just a prat. That's the whole inyan. What we're doing is this is Ner Chanukah, and I assume that's the same thing by Shabbos, not Shabbos Kodesh. Is that a real thing?
There's a hashva between Shabbos and Eros.
The crescent.
Right.
Yeah,
and the Taz, I don't think he's bothered by Shabbos, unless that's his point. His point is, you're allowed to describe what you're doing, but not the pratei dinim. So what you're doing is Ner Chanukah, so you're allowed to say Ner Shel Chanukah. But kisei hadam be'offer already needs a teretz. It's not what you're doing. It's a pratei din of kisei hadam that you use offer. So we have a special reason for kisei hadam. Yeah.
Mikra.
Which Megillah?
Yeah, Mikra.
Which Megillah? Very good. Not on Megillah Sester.
Once you say
say Akiva.
The end of the Bracha,
that's a different story. To me, it's not a bracha. It's still a prat. He has a shtickle Torah. Two kisur make the bracha. So now, the Taz already was the one himself who has a tain on klei matchis. He has a tain on Dershowitz. Ikmar has a tain on Hadik Ner Shel Chanukah. I assume you'd certainly not be okay with Shabbos Kodesh by Habakkuk's Ner Shabbos. And the Mele sees no need for it. Again, no problem. He quotes the minhag. He has no problem with it, but he thinks it's totally unnecessary to quote minhag Isa. The Maisa, the Taz is the one who Agabe the Nusach by kisei hadam is the one who says that if we'll have some kind of good reason or special reason why it's necessary to be mefarid, so then already it would make sense. So Maisa Zoy. L'hafresh Challah Minho Isa, l'choyer already we could make sense out of it. that we could have a time why Alpi the Goyin and Alpi the Achreinim who explain why Challah is a b'diavad Lashon. Really, the Iker Lashon should be Truma, because Challah, that's refers to the whole thing. Challah is blulos, like the Goyin brings. So then maybe we have a hesber why it's necessary. Once, for whatever reason, we're saying Challah. We say Challah because it's Challah Sa'ur, and it's not called Truma anymore, it's not getting again. So once we say Challah, it means it's necessary to say Challah Mino Isa. Why? So, very simply speaking, is that we know that if you're mafresh from Kemach, it's Lav Klum. But Afal Pikin is a whole machlokes Tanoim, and a Shayla Lepoiskin, or Paskin, in Parak Beis and Challah, that if you're mafresh Challah, since the Lamaisi you were Kereshem Challah, you can't stop just, maybe according to some Tanoim, you can't stop treat it as Chulin. Because Yoimru, that Yochel Zar Truma. Because since you were Kereshem Truma, even though it was garnished with Mamash Nachal, Afal Pikin, it looks bad, it's matter science, you have to treat it a little bit like Truma. So, if Lamaisa Hafish Challah, people can mistakenly think that the taich of Challah is like the taich in the Torah, which means the whole Challah. So maybe you would come to think, especially because Me'ikar Adin, Shir HaFresh Challah is much bigger. So meaning, Me'ikar Adin, you're taking 124th, 148th, you're giving a Challah, you're giving a roll or a bread or an Isa, at least a ready-made Isa or Challah or whatever it was to the Kohen, you're giving a large amount. So maybe if you take a piece of Challah, if you take a Challah or an Isa, or a big piece of Isa, and you say, Asher Kazal Hafresh Challah, and not Mina Isa, so maybe we'll think, again, depending on, we'll have to get into the tour of how you're doing it, whether you're doing it from Pas, you're doing it from Isa, you're picking up the whole Isa, over Las Yelson, not over Las Yelson. But let's say you're doing over Las Yelson, like the Bash does, before you take off before your Mafresh Kazayas, or whatever your Mafresh Kol do, and you say on the Gans Isa, Lahafresh Challah, so maybe people think that this whole thing is going to the Kohen. And this is just the Min HaMukah for some other Isas, meaning maybe it looks like the Isa, since if you don't say Mina Isa, it sounds like Challah, especially if you're taking from already baked bread. So Lahafresh Challah sounds like you're taking this Challah. Lahafresh Challah, this whole piece of bread, this whole loaf, this whole kikar, would sound like it's going to the Kohen. Maybe it could create some kind of marasayin. If again, listen to the crop, people think Challah means the whole roll, not the little piece you're taking off. So Hagam that we taka Ma'asav Mechichan Allah, you're breaking off a piece, you're taking it off. We'll see. Many make the bracha only after you take off the piece. But Lamaisa, once we have a justification, all I'm saying is to say Challah, it could be Challah already would be Mechayev to be Mevarer, that the Challah doesn't mean the whole Challah in front of us, the whole Challah, the whole bread, or the whole Isa that's intended to become bread, but rather Challah Minho Isa, just a piece of Challah Minho Isa, to be Mevarer, that it shouldn't cause a Marasayin, that the Makar for this Chashash is already in the Mishnah, that they shouldn't, even if you're Mafresh Bo'ifin, that it's not Challah, but it looks like you're calling it Challah, you pull the Challah B'tos, and there's a Chashash, people are going to say, Yaimru,
even though most times people are mafresh from Isa, it's still out there.
Yeah, but definitely. So I'm just saying it could be the same mistake because again, what's the lashon challah be'emes klabi Isa? So it's again, if the taich of challah means bread, it means the kikar, the uga. So then the pshat is it's aimed to become an uga, it's aimed to be baked. So then maybe we'll think it's the whole thing, or maybe the chashash is only when you're mafresh from pas. But either way, we have a makom, we have a pesach. So no. So nice, maybe it's a little better if they're saying challah truma, because truma is very clear. You're being clear that it's not the challah, it's challah truma. Okay. So the Taz himself points out that he himself gives the explanation. He says the reason why we're doing this, so, but it's totally unnecessary. So I don't know if the Taz had in mind Yereim. We have another time, and perhaps even a starker time, why you have to say Mina Isa. Because if we're taking into account, if Chazal took into account, and we're taking into account that when we done Shin Chav Zayin, we passed him at Yereim, that there's a possibility that you're allowed to be mafresh challah min hakemach. So, dafka then, it would be more necessary to say Mina Isa, because l'maisa we know when you're mafresh challah min hakemach, when you take kemach and kemach, and it's al t'nai, that's lichshin milosh. There's kol minei prati dinim. Now you have to know about that Allah. You have to make the t'nai. You have to make sure it's still around b'shas l'lisha. According to some acharim, you have to make a mukaf. You have to make a tzir sal or a mukaf afterwards b'shas hafrasha. But certainly you have to make sure that it's around. Meaning it's very clear to know that it's not the hafrasha is not being chal right now. So maybe there's another chashash. I'm just being malad studied that the Taz himself was the one who was poisayach sharlozeh, because the Taz himself got stuck on kisur ba'offer. So kisur dam ba'offer, and he said time. So then we have time here as well. If someone takes kemach on kemach and says hafresh challah, so it sounds like that's it. I was done. Take the kemach and throw it in the garbage, and then it's going to be Michael Tab. If you say Mina Isa, then we know that it's not really being chal. Now, what's that?
Sounds a little bit. It sounds be better if you just left it at chal. I mean, you have to be taking it from kemach, which is later going to become Isa.
So that's a Blois Taina, that if you take from Pas, you shouldn't say Mina Isa. Because it's not Mina Isa. So you're saying, go ahead by Kemach, maybe Lamaisa you shouldn't say Mina Kemach. And I say if I care.
It's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah, again, there was a minute to say it. So you're saying that minute doesn't apply by Pas. So Dershowitz, you don't change the nusach just because you're doing the protate and difference. But if I care, we're describing the going, the Taz. The Taz says, why are you adding pratidinim? The Taz says, we're adding pratidinim, so we shouldn't make a mistake. So if I care, I think there's more of a reason to say if I can. Hagam that's less medukta because you're not taking from Isa, but you really are taking from Isa. You're taking now, shbichal, like Isa. So that's what Blois says. He says, no, I think it's not true. I think like Dershowitz says that Avada the nusach shouldn't change, and the Iker Chiyuk stems from the Isa and Fakir. Maybe it's another reason. Maybe Fakir. When you're taking from Pas, you should have to say Mina Isa to know that it's already tevel by Isa. The next time you shouldn't say, oh, it's not chayiv till I bake it, and I can eat Isa's tevel.
And that's how it's true though by batter, though. I can't do it before, so I can say Mina Isa.
There is no chiv in the Isa.
What do you mean by batter? You're talking about
When I can only do it after a feel.
There's no chiv in the Isa.
When is there Mina Isa on that?
it means the Iker
If
Chiyuk
you make a
When it became Isa.
You make a real Isa. If you
What?
make a real Isa.
So that is
When I had Isa, you're saying? No, I'm saying we're blowing go
Yesh Imrin that by Bilaraka in the oven gets a Shem Isa before it gets, because that's what's Mechaber in the Isa Shem.
The only reason we bring the Chayiv is to do it serious. He made a bunch of comments. He was never Chayiv many Isa.
And Chanavi, that's the by yourself, it's the by Bilaraka, but after picking, I don't think the Iker Mechayev of Challah, which is the Isa so we have ways around it. I don't know if you change the gears. It's a chiddush to me that a boy would think to in Chadish that you should change the nusach to the product. But also the Iker Mitzvah is really Reish to say. So okay, so Maisa, this is the Taz's Taina. The Taz's Taina is that it's unnecessary. So we have different studim and tzigate studim that maybe it is necessary. We want to be, if I care, clear that the Iker Mitzvah is not from Pas and not from Kemach, but it's Mina Isa. And if I care, Lafuki that we're saying Challah, it sounds like it's the whole thing. We want to be clear and specify that it's Tafka Achil Mina Isa, so it shouldn't look like you're being Karishim in the whole thing. I don't know which Rishonim the Tasso I didn't see, but the Maisa Zachinu now learned Rishonim. And we see that the emes this nusach wasn't a new thing. And that's where it came from. The Taz made was the minig. He doesn't know where it came from. He says that. I don't know why people are doing it. It's unnecessary. But that is the nusach in the Mishnah in Perek Beis by the Bracha by Mafresharim. So that's the nusach of the Rash. That's the nusach of the Rimbatz over there. That's also the nusach in the Piskei Challah of the Rashba. Brings the nusach of Mina Isa and the Drisha. There's the Ruach, Hilakal, and the Rish Lafay. Because a lot of Rishonim already had this nusach, so it's not a pella then that there was such a minhag. It's also mashma that the Taz quote from minhag, like you said. Going in a rum, the Gim Tafel and Zion, it's not his Esav. He's not dealing with minhag. He's just quoting the Drisha about changing the nusach habracha from Pesach to Shai Moshe Hashem. That's the Iker Esav. You see over there in the Poiskim. When Maisa Teichat Dvarim, he quotes the Drisha and quotes the Drisha's nusach, which is minhag Isa, and he's not ma'ir or anything. So it sounds like by the Magen of Ram and the Taz. Sounds like in Krakow, that's what they were doing. They were saying Min Isa. The Taz takes issue with it. But Maisa, Mitzad HaMikro Misvara. We have many Rishonim that already quote this nusach, and we have many reasons why the nusach is not a problem. Das Kedoshim B'chlal, without getting into special reasons that we're being male, why you should dafka say Min Isa. Yistam has a big arichos in the Shikam Ches. Das Kedoshim that because it's B'chlal no shaykhis to any hefsik. And you're not making any hefsek in the bracha, you're allowed to be moiser, brings all the guys. Because up there, Mamela, it's better. Masha Efshel Levar, the yoiser with the bracha, it's better to be Levar. So I don't think he means you should go be moiser in every single bracha, any prat you could think of, but and right meant that since that was the minhag, and there's a real minhag to say Minhag Isa, so I would have Adav Tvei to say Minhag Isa. I didn't do a professional survey, but it seems to me that minhag has been very much in Spashi, like in Ashkenaz, to say Minhag Isa. And it would be based on the Rishon. It's just unnecessary. I'm not sure. Because the Das Kedoshim certainly seems to be taking issue with that.
You don't move that. It's
supposed to say the productive way.
Right, so the Das Kedoshim says that. He says that Chazal know that Anshin Kasidola, everything is Lafit Tziruf and Milam and Oisis, and there's a certain amount of Oisis and letters and numbers in every bracha. So I am going to share that. So he says Yisoid, that's brought in a number of places, that anytime Chazal has a number that's a mechuvin for a certain inyan, by being Moisef, you're not megarer. Doesn't share. Right, that's the
You see, you have to use.
You know, that's what we do by. That's what we do
That's
by their Shabbos. Their Shabbos, Shulchan Aruch says Zach v'Shomer, so no one's Mekayim that in English from Moisef more. So that's the place can bring in a few places. That's the says here. When you're Moisef, it's not Megarei for me. Okay.
So why we don't say Shabbos Kodesh? You see, we not like.
Okay. Fine. So that's the Gabi de Nusach HaBracha, and maybe we'll get back to one other machshava why maybe Moisef and Isa. That's based on the din of being mafresh b'machshava. So it's not mafresh in Hilchos Challah, but we know that Challah is truma. Truma is Challah. It got to be many things, maybe not all things. So in Shulchan Aruch, Hilchos Trumas Maisis, that's Siman Shalom and Aleph, Sif Mem Vav. So it's brought the halacha psuka from the Gemara in Gittin that the Gemara has the drasha, the nechshav lochem trumaschen, nechshav loshem machshava. The Gemara says that you're allowed to be mafresh trumas maisis, dishnar with Hebrew, but also b'machshava, and that's what's passed in Shulchan Aruch. Hifrish truma b'machashavta, v'loy hoitzi b'svasa. He didn't say areizu challah. So Shulchan Aruch here seems to be assuming there's some kind of a kriyas shame on truma and challah. So, like we know by us, the Mechaber leaves it out. He doesn't say to say areizu challah. It's machlokes. It's Tut Stadim. The Rambam doesn't mention it. Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention it. Place can bring from the Ravid and the other Rishonim, the Ramban and Piskei Halachos, says that you should say Harezu Truma, Harezu Challah. Akiva brings it on the spot, but the Mechaber doesn't bring it here. There is a mashmos that there was such a thing of Kriya Shem, and that's why the Mechaber has to tell you that if you do it without you didn't say anything, Hareze Truma. It works. Shenemar Gemara Gittin V'nechshav Lochem Trumasken, and then presumably that would be true also by Challah. That's what the Baisim say. But by Challah as well, you can be mafresh b'machshava. You don't need to be moitzi b'svasa. Okay.
When do you do it? Before or
When do you do it?
the Bracha? Before or after the Bracha?
No, it's yes.
The actual, what do you mean by the fresh? You mean pulling, ripping it
So it
off?
comes out you say the
Or
bracha before you action.
if you're doing by b'machshava?
Yeah.
Again, b'machshava and afrasha are not habataya. If you could do b'machshava kipshutai, what it potentially means, we're going to get into that right now. What it potentially means, you don't have to touch these. You could just say,
So when you make
salad.
before that.
So then certainly it would have to be before that, but then the place can, as we'll see with Akiva, and the place can say, then you can't make a bracha. Because we don't make a bracha on Stam Machshav. You can't say, Asher Kshon will have Shchala, and just think, and that's it. Not do anything or say anything. Pshuta. Pshuta can't do it. That's what we find by Demai, you could do that. Nothing Einu B'Zev, Oich Mitzad Zeh. The question, does that apply to Tshuva also? So it goes like this. You can do the hektish over here, and it's that's the question. If you're being maniach the Erev, is there some kind of ma'aser mechanah? So why are we not choshish to be mafresh b'machshava? Right. Okay. So maybe if you made a bracha it would help, but as we'll see, it seems that many Rishonim hold you can't make a bracha. What? I don't know what defeats the purpose. I don't know why a person would have an Indian to make a bracha and not say Harei Suchala or not be mafresh b'yadayim. But Maisa, that's a halacha of nechshav lachem. Okay, so it's like this. There's a halacha in Tov Lamed Vav that we don't make a bracha on bittul chametz. So the poskim rabad is you do the hektish over here. There's actually a long tshuva in Akiva, Chelek Aleph, Chav Tes and Lamed. Chav Tes is a letter from Wolfeger, and then Simon Lamed he writes back. That's the famous nidin over there by Sfir Sa'omer B'Chsav, Ksiva Kedima. So Teich Advarim over there. Wolfeger was bothered by the din of Truma and Meiser. How you mafresh b'machshava? Harei, the Tur says, Beis Yosef in Tov Lamed Vav. The reason we can't make a bracha on bittul chametz on beer chametz because bittul chametz you do b'machshava. So you don't make a bracha on something you do b'machshava. And the Pri Megadim before over there that even though you could speak it out, but the speaking it out is meaningless. It doesn't add anything. But etzem it's a chiyuv and a mitzvah and whatever you're doing, you're being mekayim it b'machshava. Al zeh there's no bracha. So Freg, you do the hektish over here. Akiva brings from the shoyal over there in Chavtes. That so how do we make a bracha on Frashus Truma Meister b'machshava? How could it be? So both of them, and this is Akiva in the first michtav from the Wolfeger.
Which bracha?
So you can't make any bracha. You don't make a bracha on bittul chametz. No bracha. Why not? It's a mitzvah. Teretz is because b'machshava. So oibazai tzorachin. How do you make a bracha on Frashus Truma Meister? It's something you can do just with b'machshava. Like it says in the Gemara Gittin and Shulchan Aruch Shalom. So in the Michtav from the Wolfeger, he says he answered the question. He says it's not true. that only by Demai can be nice and Ein of Tzadzeh and Eichel Tzadzeh, but by Tevel Vade and Emes you can't, it doesn't work in Machshav. And all Shulchan Aruch means, when he says without Dibur, it means he didn't say Harezu Truma, Harezu Challah, but Avadi did a Maisa Afrasha. So that's what also the Gedula Hektish brings that Tam, and he brings it from a Rashba, it's Rishonim and Kedushin Memal from the base. He brings from a number of Rishonim that which you can do with Machshav, which means you don't need Dibur, but Avadi, if you're doing with Machshav B'li Dibur, then you need a Maisa. And you can have one or the other. You can either do a Maisa and then not say anything, and just think that this is Truma, and that works. And it's Mavur in the Paiskim, that Huadin, if you do a Dibur, then you don't need a Maisa. You don't need to pull it off and do a Maisa Afrasha. That's what's Mavur in the Shag Tzedek, right? Which has a very practical eitzah that a person who has Challahs in his house, and he forgot to be Mafresh, and he's in Shul already, just like we find the whole Shaila in the Paiskim by Erev Tashim, the same thing by Challah. A person could think to himself, okay, I forgot to take Challah, so on the left side of my Challah, it's going to be... That's going to be
the first eitzah could be good for if you made a bracha.
So that's talking about Dibur. He could say from wherever he is, and could truly make a bracha and make Afrasha. You welcome bracha.
And the first eitzah could be used for someone who made bricks and mitzvah.
Oh, we're going to get to that. I might see 1 second. So as again, the Rishonim are before. This is what the Wolfeger wrote, and that's what the Hekesh brings from a bunch of different Rishonim, like Shom, that you can't just stand still and think it's Truma without any Maisa. This is Shaila and Kiveger's at the Rabbanah Deraisa, Halach L'Maisa, you can't do that. Emes Gedula Hektish says, the Machlokes Rishonim, he brings a Rashba and some Rishonim that you cannot do that. And he brings a Rashi and Gitni things holds. You could do that. At Azoiv you find by Demai, it seems like the Chazanish and Demai was Mesobik. Azoiv you find by Demai, you could be Noisa Ein Tzadzeh, Noichel Tzadzeh. So who had that? You could do that by Truma Vada, and you could talk about Mafresh, Belisham. So for there, Oibazai, Tzadikush L'Duch, they had to make a bracha. It should be like Bittul Chametz. So Lazeh, there's other Terutzim. The Gedul Hektish Stein is that Benechshav L'Chem Shemaska means that by Truma, Achshav Rachman L'Machshavte. The Torah already gave his Machshava a Koyach Avadibah. Kiveger is Stam Doiche. He quotes a Tosfos. He thinks you could be Mafresh Machshava without any Maisa, without anything. So Ein Sham, it's a Tosfos Bava Metzia. Look at the Tshuva, it's very shver. And the Ha'aras and the Kiveger, they mayor that thing. The Makar Kiveger brings is very shver. It's the not talking about that. He's talking about Loimen Amukaf. Ein Sham. But upon him, Kiveger says it's not shver. By Bittul Chametz, the reason you don't make a bracha is because the ganze Zach is a Machshav. Just a Machshav is a Bittul, and that's it. No. Mashenkin over here, even if you'll say the Hafrasha, the Ikar Hafrasha, meaning to in the Yachid, a piece of it for Challah could be b'machshava, that's only the beginning. Then you have to take it and give it to the Kohen. It has to be mufresh b'foil and take it off of the East and give it to the Kohen. So that's a whole tahalich, and Memela, and the emes is, so obviously that's totally what we saw in the beginning of Hilchos Challah, Machlokes Rambam and Ramban, where they're Hafrasha and Nesina, 2 mitzvahs, 1 mitzvah. The emes is, the Ramban over there in Sefer Mitzvahs brings this as one of the rayas. He makes the cheshbon with the brachas, that we make a bracha dafka by the Hafrasha, not the Nesina, Ein Shom. Whether it's 1 mitzvah or 2 mitzvahs, so Kiveger is getting a little bit into that noisei of whether it's 1 or 2 mitzvahs, but that's what Kiveger's teretz, why it's better to be machshava. Al Kopanim. What's being said here is that there's a nidin in Kiveger, it's a Wolfeger, and there's a whole nidin in the Gedula Hektish, that, and it seems that the Choishes Halach L'Maisa, it's stam just to think bilvad, stam machshava v'moyach bilvad, without doing any either Maisa Hafrasha or any Dibur, neither one. So we're choishish that doesn't work. Maybe it's only with the Rabbanon, maybe it's takana the Rabbanon, maybe the Raisa does work. But it seems halacha there's we're choishish that doesn't work. Kiveger again was mitzadin, maybe it does work, but all shver is makar from Bavnitzia, and the Gedul Hektish Klar seems to be saying that many Rishonim doesn't work.
Is it Gemara something that says you can make a bracha for mafresh for machshava, or just like do mafresh for machshava?
So Kiveger thinks he has a Tosfos, but it's shver. Ein Sham, it's Gemara Bavnitzia. So there's no more than that. Kiveger Taina, he said, you're telling me, Wolfeger wrote to him, you can't be my with a bracha. You have to talk to do a ma'isa. Kiveger was doich. He said, no, I have a makar that you do. His best makar is a Tosfos. Machshava belvad. Kiveger wasn't talking about the Bible, but the Tosfos is a bad makar. I ain't showing, but I'm just saying that Lamaisa. Yeah, Kiveger says the best makar he has is a Tosfos. So there's no first makar. So. It's a questionable thing. That's why Gedul Hektish has studied L'Kanakani as a Rashi Gitni thinks that you could, you can't, fine. So
Safek Challah is like mine.
We don't make a bracha. We don't make a bracha on the mind.
right, and Kiveger himself handles that. Why we don't make a bracha on the Mai?
The Gemara in Shabbos.
Yeah.
If I would take off my Safek, I can do more Shabbat maybe, yeah?
Maybe. It depends, really, the timing. I'm saying the MS, maybe not.
Saying you're at someone's house, you're not sure if they have
special didn't Mai, Roigam Ratzim Asher. What that Chayim rule pointing out, you can't bring it right from the Mai. So I don't know about Safek Challah, so as I. So Oh, right. So I just want to say that maybe that's another reason you have to say lahafresh challah min isa, because on this point, what is the bracha of lahafresh challah? So lahafresh really could be an aspiration in two ways. It could be to be miyached a little piece of this isa as challah. That's lahafresh. Or it can mean lahafresh, l'maisa, to actually pull it off of the isa, to do a physical maisa hafresh. So what I'm saying is, according to many, it seems some rishonim and some achronim, you cannot make a bracha on machshava b'lvad. You can be yotzei, there's no bracha. And maybe for that reason you can't do the mitzvah like that, because you'll do the mitzvah that bracha. But al-kapanim, maybe lahafresh challah could have been inspired as just lahafresh, to be miyached that piece in your isa or in your challah as truma, as challah. So lahafresh challah min isa is lohichiach that no, the bracha is on a ma'isa hafrasha, is to actually be mafresh challah min isa. Okay, so again, that's not a davar shalom, because that's true. That if you don't want to say anything, you have to be mafresh challah min isa. You actually have to do a ma'isa hafrasha. That's what many Rishonim are saying. So the bracha is mamish the ikar mitzvah. You have to be mafresh challah min isa, not just mafresh challah to set it aside the machshava. It's not a davar shalom because l'maisa l'idach kisa, like we see from the Shari Tzedek, a person could be mafresh challah b'dibur b'lvad, even if you don't take it off. If he's stuck in shul and he remembers that he wasn't mafresh, he could b'dibur, but then you would have to do a taka b'dibur. Okay, so Mashalitzla Mekol is like Zach was pointing out, and the Chazon Ish actually points this out as well. That let's say a person takes a tevel challah, he forgets. When people forget to be mafresh challah, so there's various different levels of takal. There's the takala of the one who sold challah and remembered he sold 10 challahs, remembered erev Shabbos, and you can remember on Shabbos, and there's many different dagas. So let's say you're at a very late stage of remembering, and that is you're about to take a bite of the challah, you take one look at that challah, and you realize, no, it was not mafresh. So what could you do right now? That's in kasher discussion. Okay. So Zok the Chazon Ish that you can't eat tevel. So you have to be mafresh. But you're not allowed to be mafresh challah without a bracha. Talk about tevel vada. So the Chazon Ish says it's not a hefsek. So you should make a bracha right now. So you should make a bracha. Now, we know from some Rishonim they say to make a kriya shem. The Rambam says not kriya shem. Certainly here you should not make a kriya shem because the kriya shem is not makiv. So certainly you shouldn't be mafsik, but it's not necessary. So you have your challah, hafresh challah min mitzvah min arts oivei, hafresh challah min isa, and then what? So with Dvorenu, you just have to be makbid. I think it's before like that in Chazon Ish. You couldn't just think, okay, and I'm going to leave that little piece at the end. Chalas chutz la'aretz, shin chav gimel, we'll see, that's a different story. Chalas la'aretz zoil, even chalas chutz la'aretz be'emes, if you're making a bracha, you're allowed to eat it in chalas chutz la'aretz. And chalas chutz la'aretz could be you don't have to make a bracha b'chal, because you could just eat and then be mafresh afterwards. And chalas la'aretz still have to be mafresh, so you can't just make a lav shchal and think that, okay, that last piece over there, that'll be my chal, the machshava. Because then you'll have made a bracha without any ma'isa hafrasha and without any dibur. So what we'd have to do b'chiyagav is have shchal min isa and take off a piece, do a ma'isa hafrasha, and then al zeh namar the din shenam and alf pilig mar gittin that you're allowed to be mafresh without a dibur, but you need a ma'isa. And again, that's a shtickle machlokes Rishonim. So the archstad kind of
in Chutz La'aretz,
Shabbos you can't be mafresh. Shabbos should be trouble.
But if you made a bracha already, so you
Made a bracha on chazer, you wouldn't need also even in the veil.
but wanted to say you from the sister, maybe we would allow you to be mafresh challah.
Yeah, so I don't think so. Ma'isa, the halacha is you can't be mafresh shubas ma'isa on Shabbos. Now I was looking for the Dvarim Fresh, I found a little bit. To be mafresh challah the machshavim on Shabbos Yom Tov. So it seems there is the Achrein Rol Machmer. It seems that there is a shita mukbetzes. It wasn't so clear to me, but Ayin Shom, the shita mukbetzes in Beitzel, Lamdal and Beitz, is mashma. It could be mafresh machshavim. So I don't know. That's a good question. If you're stuck, Pshuta, you're just stuck. I don't think that the whole Isser was you do it by that's nicker, you do it tikka, that's nicker, that's not nicker.
No, but there's two thoughts. Another one is Yistam can't be Mekadosh.
It's usher to be Mekadosh.
Yeah.
It's not that,
No, there's two things. There's one near Kimatakin, one Mishnah bringing down, and then there's you're not to be Mekadosh.
Yeah, that's what
Who gets Mashava then?
On Shabbos,
Again, it's not dhikr. It's also an issue.
You're not allowed to be Mekadosh.
Why not?
Oh,
It's also
just
Memker, Kinyan.
if you didn't make the bracha yet, in Chutz La'aretz, you have a way to eat before.
I would say yes. So see, Shin Chav Gimel, assume you don't do anything. Just eat.
Just eat, because then you have Ma'av Shalom also.
Emma says you made a bracha on the shalom already.
No, that's after. If you only made the bracha after.
I'm talking about the Hamoitzi. The case
Right,
we're
if
talking
you
about
made
is
that
made
mochi and
Hamoitzi.
then you realize.
Right.
But before you realize, in Chutz La'aretz, there's a Ma'av Shalom.
If you didn't make a bracha yet, so for sure you should make Ma'av
Why? Shalom. No, you're saying Challah is better?
Oh, you're saying in Chutz La'aretz would it be adif? Okay, so we'll have to see in Shin Chav Gimel how much of an adifas it is not.
Alright.
Fine. Okay, so that's some of the cases of halacha l'maisa. L'gabi being mafresh challah of the Hebrew bilvad. That's when you're stuck in shul erev Shabbos. You remember that shlav, or the machshava bilvad. When we say machshava bilvad, has to come along with the ma'isa afrasha. So if you remember after you're about to take a bite of challah, you have to do some kind of ma'isa afrasha. And machshava greda would probably work in Kveger, in the Lichtav to Kveger. They assume it'll work in the Raisa, maybe not the Rabbanon. People Hektish is not sure. So Maisa, we're not Samech on a Machshava Bilvad. Okay. So now let's go to the next step, and that is like this: that the Rambam doesn't mention anything. We're talking about a question of Machshava and Afrasha. The Uma's not saying anything. So where does saying anything come from? So that's the Ravid and the Rambam. The Rambam doesn't say anything about saying anything by Hafrashas Challah. He just says, you make a bracha and you're mafresh. So they bring some occurrence that maybe the bracha itself is the Kriya Shem, with Kipshuta. There's just no Kriya Shem, you just do a Ma'isa Hafrasha and think, this is Harezu Challah. Take off with the Yadayim, that's a Ma'isa Hafrasha. The Rishonim, the Ravid, the Ramban add, no, there is also Kriya Shem of Harezu Challah. And the place can bring from the Rishonim already bring, the Ramban, the Rashban, the Piskei Halachos, from the Tosefta, the Be'etzim you have two options. You could be mafresh with a Ma'isa Hafrasha, without a Kriya Shem, and then it's Chal Miyad with the Ma'isa Hafrasha, and then obviously you have to make the bracha before the Ma'isa Hafrasha, physical Ma'isa Hafrasha. Or the other option is to do the Mahalach of the Ravid, which is to be Kriya Shem. If you're Kriya Shem, then the Etzem Hafrasha is not your Chalosh Challah, not your Chalosh Jumah, pulling it off, rather you pull it off. And that's what most of the place can say, that then you should pull it off and say the bracha Sherek Shem Sos from Havshkal, and then say Harezu Challah, because it's the Harezu Challah, it's the Kriya Shem, that's Mechal the Chalois Challah. So some place can say you should pull it off a little bit, leave it a little bit connected. Question of Oivilas Yason, but certainly the Chalois only comes, and that's what they bring from the Tosefta. The Ramban and the Rash bring from the Tosefta. That if you're someone who's not doing Kriya Shem, so as soon as you pull it off, it's Challah. Because your Ma'isa Hafrasha is made of Challah. And if you're planning on being Kriya Shem, then it's only Challah once you're Kriya Shem. These are the two possible ways to be Mafresh Challah. Now, so the Gedula Hektish has a question like this. We see two Mahalchim. The Mahalach of being Mafresh b'Maisa, the Ma'isa Hafrasha, or the Kriya Shem, Harezu Challah. So the Gedula Hektish says, well, we know that you can be mafresh challah the machshava, and even machshava bilvad. Maybe midrabanan you have to shtal to some kind of a ma'isa. The machshava be'etzem alein could be challah hafreshus challah just by thinking that this should be challah. So very nice. You're planning on saying harezu challah, which is the minhag today. Everyone says harezu challah by hafreshus challah. So very nice. You're planning on saying harezu challah, but why would the chalois only come with the harezu challah? What's your machshava? Your machshava right now is to be mafresh challah. So when you're mafresh, even though you didn't say harezu challah, it should be challah right away. Ali day your machshava. This is what the Gedula Hektish is ma'oyer. He says in mahakshah. This is what he's ma'oyer. Meaning we're in the normal person today is be mafresh challah, which is by taking off challah and saying harezu challah. Where does the machshava play a role? That's what he's being ma'oyer. And m'chayra, if machshava works for everything, so and it's a big enough gemina. Because the halach is that if today someone who's rugged to say harezu challah, they take off challah and they forgot to make a bracha, they can still make a bracha. It's not challah yet. And fakir, that's according to many places, the chatchila way to do it. To take it off, say the bracha, and then say harezu challah. So certainly, if you forgot to make a bracha, you can still at this point make a bracha. So correct, just correct there. Maybe not. It's already chal because it's chal b'machshava. So it's a very simple idea. He brings it from not such a simple makar, but it's a simple idea. He brings it from a Turei Even Chakim. And he says that that when do we say machshava works? If you're mafresh, alidei machshava. If you think b'machshava, this should be challah. Whether you hold like you're showing that machshava needs a nice, it doesn't need a nice, but it's when you're actually mechashiv, you're choishiv on this thing that it should be your challah or your truma. Mashenkin over here, when you decided not to go the derech of machshava, but rather you're asid lohoitzi bepeh, you're asid likrois shem. So the mela, the machshava is not the machshava, which is mechal challah. Your machshava is obviously right now thinking about being mafresh challah. That's like what you're doing. But since you're asid lohoitzi bepeh, so it's not a problem. It's not chal beforehand, and you can still be make the bracha until you say harezu chal. Okay, so ke'enzu we find in Shulchan Aruch in Shin Amud Aleph, because right before the din that you can be mafresh machshava, there's another din that if a person meant to say harezu truma and by accident he said harezu meiser, the wrong word skipped out of his mouth, it's not chal. So in fact the shach, why is it not chal? It's a mishnah. Why is it not chal? Very nice, he said meiser, but he's thought truma. So since he thought truma, machshava should work. So the teretz is, the shach says ke'enzu, do the Hakish Shpetzer makes some machlokes, so showing him out of it, the whole type of thing, we won't go into it now. But the point is, since once you're mechavin to be moitzi bepeh, so then the machshava doesn't chap you and cause a hafrashas chalois chal. And he says that's the pshat in Tosefta, because ultimately the Rishonim were all coming from Tosefta. That if you're asid likrois shem, if you're planning on saying harezu challah, then until you do that, even though your machshava is the whole time and that you're being oisik in hafrash truma, it's not chal until you actually go and you're encouraged. Fine. So memela, if a person is mafresh challah and he forgot to make a bracha, you make a bracha to his harezu challah. If you said harezu challah, then it's too late, and you can't make a bracha. Maybe the teichid dibur. So that's the whole shayla in the poskim. If a person was mafresh challah and he said harezu challah, and he forgot to be, they forgot to say a bracha, should they be shoyal on their challah in order to redo it with a bracha? So the Chassitzka brings a machlokes about that. The Stipler and Rav Shach had a machlokes about that. Well, maybe we'll see more in Shin Chav Gimel exactly the gedarim of she'ela when we do she'ela chatchila or not. That's the question. Is she'ela chatchila? We'll see about that in Shin Chav Gimel. But Al Kapanim, until then, your machshava can't chap you when you're planning on saying harezu chal. Okay, so that's some of the dinim of machshava. That mitzad echad, we see that machshava has to be shtelt to a ma'aseh, the ma'aseh afrosha. According to halacha l'ma'aseh, it has to come along with the ma'aseh afrosha or the dibur, not machshava b'vad. And even when your machshava, even when your ma'aseh has machshava, but if you're planning on being mechal with something else, it's a kol lefi tanoi in kaviyachol. That's what Turi Rebbe said. If you're planning on say harezu challah, so you wait till then. Now, there's a nesivus that says like this. So in Derech Hamuda quotes this Nesivus, in Madani Yoretz, Shlomo Zalman Sefer and Shumas, in Parak Dalet, there's a big arichas about this Nesivus. The Nesivus says like this.
It's matters that people are Persian.
I think so. So I said. So the Nesivus says like this, that when could machshava yes work for your benefit? So the Nesivus is talking about the din of making a shliach for Chumas Maisus. So we'll get us a little bit into the sugya of the Ktsois and the Tzivus, the Ktsois and the Chum Sadeshin, of our first Challah Shlich. So a katan, a goy, a cherish, can't be a shliach. The apostle for shlichus, so you can't be, if you're minding them a shliach to go be mafresh challah for you, doesn't work. And it's garnish ketan. It says the Nesivus, but harei, wait a second, Shuma works and challah works and machshava. So if you make a katan a shliach, total katan is possible for mafresh truma, it might say mamish like nothing. It says the Nesivus, but if you send him, and you say, listen, I want you to take off those peiros on the side over there, little cotton. He goes and he does it. And you have a nichusa. Whether you lechatchila declare that you have a nichusa in what he's doing, or after he does it, you say, yeah, I'm very happy with what you did. Says the Nesivus, then it's chal, because floy garmi machshava. Says the Nesivus, just like you can make a t'nai that when it rains, im yardu geshamim yizet truma, hachanami malim amr kshir geshamu ushamr mashi yafresh hakaton oyakoif. It's a ma'isa koif ba'alma, but so what? Because again, you don't need a physical ma'isa of you being mafresh. You need some kind of a chacha. That's what's happening. You see something was mufresh from the chuvas and ma'isers. You had a nichusa with that, so then it works. Even al yidei a koif and who had in a katan. And it's up to the Nesivus. It's in Kopei Beis. If you breyer lo shaykh, and it's not a breyer. It's not working with mafreya. It's from the time of your nichusa. You can't allow it. It's challah. So if you're being mafresh, machshav at that point. Okay, so yesh la'ayin b'zeh. Do you have the chisaron of machshava b'li any ma'isa? But presumably you don't, because even if the katan's hafrasha, when he pulled it off, it was nothing, because the Nesivus says you can come afterward and say you're happy about it, but again, then you have dibur. You don't just have machshava b'lav. He's just saying it's lo garam in machshava. Okay. So Shlomo Zalman has a huge arichas about this Nesivus, trying to figure out exactly when it's chal this Nesivus, that if you send a pasal shliach, it actually works. Akadekach, the Echrim are bothered. Like, how can you prove from Trumas to Maisers, from Kein Tarimu Gamatim, and it's a Parsha Shlichus in the Torah? Maybe it just means this type of Shlichus. Say for Hamakin and Kedushin, he has a big Arichas over here. But the point is that what L'chor is very clear, and Shlomo Zalman tries to prove this point, that the reason it works when you send the katan is because you don't think you're making the katan Perik troops. You don't think you're Madani Arts. You don't think you're making the katan a shliach. You have no misgivings. You have no mistake that a guy is a kosher shliach. You're just telling him, listen, go and do the ma'aseh kof for me, and then it'll be chal when you do the ma'aseh kof. Azovi kishiyadu b'shamim, and that's the tanai yishtal v'ek and yinichusas. That's what's chal. Azovi b'machshav. So he's bothered. He has a chasam sefer. He chooses chasam sefer. That's mashma. Then no, anytime you make a pasul shliach. So it works by true, because since you told him to do it, even though you said you're being man and mishliach, it's a pashul shliach, a goy, a katan. So once he does it, hooray, tape away that it's like your machshav and it should work. So he's very niskash with that. And b'chol oifin, it seemed that even if the Chasam Sofer meant to say that, perhaps he only meant it when you're a man of pashul shliach. So what are you doing with man and katan or man and goy? Obviously you know you can't man and katan goy, so it must be that what you meant to do is really send him to do this ma'aseh kof and to be mafresh al yedei your ratzon and your machshav. Okay, so Klapi Ma'advar Mamurim. I don't remember exactly the story. There's a Ma'aseh Shai over here, a couple of years ago. And the story was something like this, at least the way I reconstructed it. So let's say like this, that a woman was being mafresh Challah from a shear that doesn't, it's not Mechayim Bracha. Shear Mechayim, no, whatever shear she had that she was being mafresh, she wasn't even making a Bracha. And she was making her Challah Erev Shabbos, and without knowing, and Dine Katan Shlichus, she was doing it with her 10-year-old daughter, not even muflas on flesh, so she couldn't be mafresh. And she got to the point where you mafresh challah, so she wanted to teach her very bright 10-year-old how to be mafresh challah. So she told her, now take a piece, pick it up, and say, Harei zu chal. The little girl picked it up and said, Harei zu chal. And this they only chap Shabbos morning, if I remember correctly. So the Etzem Ma'aseh Hafrasha was a 10-year-old katan. And the mother said, okay, let's do chal together. I'm going to show you how to do it. And the katan did it, picked up, and raised chal. So there was somewhat of a discussion going around what had to done those chalas. Was that hafrasha or kasher hafrasha? Is there any tzad to say that because of the machshava of the mother, because of this chasam sofer, because of something along these lines, or is it hevel? What? Yeah. So I work for a couple by choosing myself.
That's the
Right. I'm not talking about.
The Gemara Ma'aseh says you can't learn Truma. It's called Tarkula. So Shlichus is not Machshav. It needs a Shrikusa, get, and...
Right. We need other Bukhari's.
So is that fair role? Is that
So you're saying maybe Hagufa. So,
yeah.
Right. But I'm saying that I think, so ultimately, I don't know what it has to say, I'd like to hear, but ultimately, Kipshuta, the Gidrei Shlichus, at the end of the day are the same Gidrei Shlichus. And Lamaisa, she had no idea what she was doing in the morning. She didn't know to be Mafresh Machshava. I think this is the Madani Eretz is the whole point. And all the Nesivus means to say is that since you can do it with Machshava, and you don't need a Maisa per se, you don't need your own Eged Maisa per se, you just need some kind of Maisa that Hamachiach HaMachshavtoi. So you could have a nichus with the pasal shleichos because it's like a ma'aseh kof, and then can be mafresh azov even machshav. But here, where the mother was fooled into thinking, she said she didn't think she was doing it on her own. She thought she was showing her child how to do it, and that hafrasha. So the mother certainly had a gevaldige nichusa. She didn't want her chalas to be tevel. That's clear. But she mistakenly thought that the chalois shem truma was coming from the hafrasha. From the ma'isa hafrasha of the child, because the child did it. So either she was being semich on the ma'isa hafrasha of the child. The mother said Harei zu challah because she had to teach the child. But she was just doing it milumada, just to tell the katan what to say. So mitzad the dibur, she was being semich on the katan. Tepiklei machshava. That's the question of all the achronim. When a person is planning on saying Harei zu challah, but they have machshava, so here also we'll say very nice you don't have a ma'isa, but you have her machshava, but you don't have a machshava. That's the whole point of this gilui hektish and of this Nesivus and Shlomo Zalman's whole Mahalchus Nesivus, that the whole idea of Machshav is you could use Machshav to Mafresh Challah if you're aware of what you're doing, and you're being Mafresh Challah, Machshav. Either al yedei or Machshava, or al yedei using a Ma'aseh Kof and shtalling a vekir Machshava like that. But if you mistakenly put your samchut, you're a mana shliach puzzle, unless you know that it's a shliach puzzle, and Mela we know that really what you mean to do is with your machshava, so l'chayra doesn't work. L'chayra, again, so all we know that's exactly
that
this
piece of dough sitting in front of her is challah. That's
how was it challah?
what I'm saying. You have to have that part of the machshava also.
No, that's Megara the Machshava. Because
Yeah,
I'm going to do it.
She thought
not on me.
She thought that she's doing it. Presumably, again, if she knew, her
Machshava was that this is how frasha.
machshava was that this became challah al yidei my daughter's hafrasha. Right?
Now,
if she would have known the halacha,
it doesn't matter what it is. There's a hafrasha here that she had.
She's not a kosher
It's
shliach.
totally on the ma'isa. We're saying it's not totally on the ma'isa.
Again, so let's go through the steps. Shliach, the katan's for sure not, because a katan can't be shliach from mashtruma. The ma'isa katan can't be a ma'isa for shtruma. It's no das, bar das. That's Allah. That's the Rambam paragraph. So elamai, you have the nesivus as ma'isa koif. The typically that fine. I made a puzzle shliach, but l'chayr here she didn't know she was making a puzzle shliach, so she thought So Roshon Zalman points this out. I think it's a big arichas over there. But l'chayra, if you think that it's being done out of the cotton, chalois coming out of the cotton, the tikkun's coming out of the cotton, so l'chayra, it's she never had. She was never mafresh but machshavta. She never thought that I should use my machshavta now. L'chayra, the nichusa alein is not enough. Nichusa alein might be enough for the shumas hadeshem. You can do it zechim tam shlichus. But here again, we have a puzzle. We have the puzzle cotton and the puzzle shlichus. The only thing we potentially have is the ma'isa koif, which could be the ma'isa that still through to my machshavta. But l'chayra shouldn't have machshavas hafrasha, and l'chayra applies to that. And the Mela, even though the Nesiva says that when she finds out about it, she could say, nichali. And when you say nichali, what you did, that alain is a machshava, which is shafs to hafrasha. Well, l'chayra afilu hachi, that's also b'Shabbos, because you're not allowed to be mafresh even b'machshava on Shabbos. That's what the place can say.
It happened in front of her that happened before Shabbos, because it happened in front of her that was Russia.
No, I'm saying the nichusa only makes the hafrasha b'machshava once she knows she made a mistake. She says, say there, but I'm happy that it should be chal.
On this nice.
But the nichusa is for a puzzle
She means shliach.
Yeah, but the nichus is not enough. Meaning, because the nichus that work is only the nichus that says that I know your mice is puzzle, but my nichus is like a fresh machshava.
Why is she?
On the same person. I'm talking about like someone else doing
She
it.
found out she has nichusa. It worked.
I think that nichusa is only the assumption is that nichusa is saying, and that's what it's mashma, and it's based on what they said also is that it's like hafresh al yada. It's like she's doing hafresh, mafresh, mafresh.
And say that's what happened right here in front of her.
No, here she made just a total mistake. She was relying on puzzle hafresh. She had no das to do it herself, so her machshava. The nechshav lochem trumascha means you can make a vaday ma'isa hafresh al yidei your machshava, but not without your machshava. What?
What's the difference between the other case?
That she thinks I'm being mafresh chal. I want this to be chal. Reizu chal.
Is he the pashas? What was he saying?
What's that?
Is the ma'aser of Shlomo Zalman correct in what the Nesiva is saying?
You're saying in the nichusa.
Yeah,
I think so. I think ultimately it is the pashtas.
I thought that was before the Nesiva.
Dafkim amar lekaton, say trim katon version. Avalim tziva lekaton letroin is lashon Nesiva. Avalim tziva lekaton letroin.Amishalech amar hatfur sheyafresh katon zeh. V'amishalech amar hatfur sheyafresh katon zeh. V'yikro losh. This is what the Nesiva says. The Mishalech says hatfur sheyafresh katon or koif zeh. V'yikro loshein truma yihiyeh. Truma al moiser. Yihiyeh truma al moiser hatfur. Heavy truma. So it sounds like she's mamish telling it about klar. So the Chassam Sofer is mashma that this would work. Chassam Sofer is mashma, but he points out that even if you're going to be matching the Chassam Sofer, and he has rise against Chassam Sofer to dig Chassam Sofer, but that's only l'chayra that there's an umdana that if you make a puzzle shliach, you know what you do. When you make a puzzle shliach, it must be what you mean to do is machshava. Then we have to just get back to the other tanoim that they're trying to say. You need some kind of ma'isa being done. So for that, the ma'isa koif's enough, but you have your klar machshava.
So this is also
Okay, so the oisir was that what's with buses, because the story was, I believe, that on the Shabbos table, the leichter were on the side, on the wall, and the table just had chalas on a challah board on a table. Because the chalas are gufon, the table. So the table comes in buses. So as Mali here come studied why the table should not be a buses. That much I think we could be marviach. Is it B'tzir if that there's a tzad that the chal? I don't think so. Yesh Laim zeh. I the Stevens. Well, Maisa, there's basically three tzirufim. The fact that you didn't plan on the chals being there the whole Shabbos. Shlomo Zalman has a murder chiddush based on the Tosfos in Shabbos that Tevel can't make a basis. Moshe was chaylik on that because Tevel and Maisa, it's nitan lafkia the shem Tevel al yidei Maisa afrasha. Even though it's also the mafresh Shumas Shabbos, but afal pikin So that's some places about Bittul Kli Mechanoi, but that's what it says in Shmir Shabbos, Perchav Beis, or Tezayin. And then you have the tzad of toes, which I brought here. Some other Makari seems to be a machlokes. That's a chasam sofer. If you put shehiyah be'isr on the fire, could you take it off? Should you take it off? Could you take it off? Does the pot become a basis to the asr food? And the chasam sofer says because it doesn't become a basis. So even from the basis, we had a makom to make up. The question is, in Yesh L'Ayin B'zeh, is there any makom to say that the hafrasha could have been a kasha hafrasha or not?